Daniel, hello. Please give an introduction about yourself.
Hi, so my name is Daniel. I joined the real world in about May. I was trying to find a way to make money online, and I tried a lot of different courses and never really found anything that truly worked until I joined the real world. So I joined the real world in May, and then I joined the stocks campus, and then I paper traded and really just studied the game of the stock market. And Professor Ayush really helped guide me through the whole process, the difficult process of trading, and I didn't start trading with my real money until June, or apologies, July. I
Mhm.
didn't start trading until July, and I placed my first trade July 7th, and up to date, a little bit over 3 months later, I'm on my fourth month trading, and I have almost made $5,000.
Awesome. Okay, very solid. What age are you comfortable revealing?
I'm 18 years old.
18. There you go. Solid. And before we do get to the serious stuff, I do see an interesting banner behind you. What's that about?
Um, well, it's just a little inspiration to see every now and then.
All the G's
This,
sitting together.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Where did you get it?
Where did I get it?
Hmm.
I got it on Amazon.
Fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, just randomly was wondering. All right, so you said 5K from Stocks Campus. Let's go with how did you actually find out about the real watch?
So of course I would see it on social media. I know the affiliate marketing campus definitely does a fantastic job of advertising through social media. So I saw videos all the time, so I knew it existed, and I was became a big fan of Andrew Tate and his teachings. And his teachings really helped me a lot in my personal life um, because I've struggled with mental health issues and everything. And he's been a figure that basically has been able to guide me through that and help me to become a better man.
Mhm.
And so I always found him influential. And I've tried other courses and I watched a couple YouTube video reviews, and nobody really had anything too bad to say about the real world. What I basically heard was if you don't make money in the real world, it's because you didn't try. So I was like, it's $50 a month. I might as well just try it. And if this doesn't work out, then I can just stop paying it. And as soon as I saw all the different resources through it, I knew there was a way that I'd be able to make it happen and find a way to make money online.
Right. Okay. I'd like to go back to when you said about mental health issues. Let me know if it's not something you're comfortable going into. But I do wonder what kind of things were you struggling with before joining?
I definitely struggled with anxiety issues and not necessarily at the time period of joining, but a little bit before that,
Even
I
before,
had
yeah.
struggled with depression and stuff. So that had been a past struggle, but um, his like teachings on everything is your fault, whether you like it or not, and you're here because of every decision you've ever made.
Mhm.
And that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but once you can take accountability of that and start changing the direction of your life, it definitely makes a big
Mm.
difference.
And it's very prevalent, the issues you talk about in men of today
Hmm.
or in younger teens. So again, it would seem as we'll go into this further, just I guess the real world is a positive light for people, right? Like it just
Hmm.
completely gives you a direction and a purpose. So again, this should be an interesting story once again around that. So let's go into how different is your average day now then compared to before you joined the real world? How different does it look?
So I'm definitely getting out of bed a little bit earlier to check the stocks and listen to Professor Ayush's AMAs and watch his daily analysis and just marking my charts and getting ready for the day. So I would
Mhm.
definitely say my days now revolve around the markets, and I'm always trying to learn and be a student. Even though I've been doing this for a couple months, I'm still learning so much every single day about how the markets work. So my days are just kind of revolving around that. I'm
Well,
still working out every day, and of course, that's a big part of it that the real world promotes is to always make sure you're working on your body.
I'm gonna
Talk bodies one.
hit your body with an imaginary punch with my next question. When you say you've been learning new things every single day, please give an example. What kind of thing recently have you learned about the markets that you didn't know before?
So I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the lessons are a little bit different. So what'll happen is you'll be trading, you'll be pretty profitable for a little bit, and you'll get cocky and overconfident, and you'll mark your charts and find some technical analysis that will predict that the price will go a certain direction, and you'll be proved completely wrong. And you'll have to take a second and say, okay, why did it not go in this direction that I marked? And you'll have to basically reanalyze that and figure out like where did I go wrong? Because trading is a performance based thing, and it always does come back on you, whether you like it or not. So if you fail a trade, you have to identify what was in your control and what wasn't.
Hmm. And why did you actually end up choosing the Stocks campus over all the others that were available?
Um, I'd say it was the second campus I tried. I tried the freelance first, and then I tried the stock second. I'd always had an interest in how all that worked, and I just started taking the courses and just all the different resources, how you could get plugged in with the people in the chat rooms, and any questions you had would get answered through AMAs. And I thought that was huge in the learning process because I feel like it's pretty difficult to just something to learn on your own. It's possible through YouTube and everything, but just to have all the resources around you helping you.
Hmm.
Once I kind of started, it was hard for me to stop, so I just kept going.
Okay. And what's the journey there for handling your emotions while trading? Because that's a big aspect of it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely struggled a lot at the beginning because I would try day trade, and now I've developed more into swing trading because I kind of outline my plan, and then once my plan is outlined, I just stick to it. Versus I place a day trade, and I see the price make a quick move, and I start panicking, and I want to sell, and then I would notice for a lot of the time when I had a bad season, as soon as I would sell, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour later, the price would just come right back to where I wanted it to go. And I realized like maybe I need to be more patient and not let these small little moves emotionally affect me. And Professor Ayush does a really good job of constantly reminding us of that, even though we're humans and we get emotional and see these small moves and make bad decisions based off of them. But
Hmm. Okay, interesting. Then what would you say for biggest challenge? Was it also emotional control or something else? In terms of when you were implementing lessons from the Stocks campus, what were the biggest challenges you faced?
it probably was emotional control, just like trying to realize you don't own the markets and you can't always predict them perfectly. So when things do go wrong, to be prepared for them to go wrong. Always make sure your stops are there. Make sure you're always prepared for price not to go in your direction versus always thinking that it will go in your direction.
Hmm. Now, I'd like some more specifics on that 5K you made. Was
Mhm.
it from a big play? Was it consistently over time? And actually, yeah, first answer that and I'll follow up.
So it was a little bit slow at the start, but I was always profitable from the beginning. So I think my first trade I did lose maybe like $50, and then my very second trade I made 80, and I was like, okay, I made my money back, and it just kept kind of going from there. So I trade
Mhm.
options contracts, just on the American Stock Exchange, and so it's been pretty steady. I do remember the day I had my biggest win. It was an overnight swing trade, so it was a trade that only lasted 2 days, and I made $1,000 off of a single trade. And
Nice.
that's when I kind of realized this can be pretty lucrative if I can figure this out.
All right. How much can you say about the setup you saw for that 1K trade you made? The
Mhm.
setup and then actual execution of it.
So, of course, Professor Irish releases his weekly watch list of different names that are um, possibly going to make moves throughout the week. And so, I it was CrowdStrike was the stock, and it was in a box. It had been in a box almost the whole summer, and it broke lower for 2 days and held, but it didn't make a huge move. But it had been consolidating at the bottom of the box for quite a while, and so I saw that and I entered a put contract maybe a month out, because I was pretty confident in the technicals of it moving lower. And then what happened was, overnight, one of the insiders sold a lot of his shares. There was an insider release, and one of the main investors like sold a lot of his shares, and it dumped like 20% overnight.
Wow.
And I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, when the market's open, I don't know how much is going to be there, but it's probably
Mhm.
going to be quite substantial.
And how much did you put in to that contract?
I'd say that contract was maybe 300 to 500. I don't remember the exact price, but it wasn't a super expensive contract.
Mhm. And then, yeah, made the 1K return out of it. Very nice.
Yeah,
Very solid.
yeah.
Okay. What kind of, not techniques, do you do technical analysis or do you trade differently?
So the technicals I use are basically what's taught through the real world, just consolidations and support and resistance levels.
Mhm.
Just kind of thinking about prices, energy. So when it consolidates, it's the longer it consolidates, the bigger the move will be, basically, like how energy and electricity work. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. I feel like that's a really interesting way that is taught, and I see it work out most of the time. One in my trades where I see that I execute perfectly, I'm not emotional. Like, I see a very relatively high win rate. So
Okay. Solid. Then, what kind of advice would you have to people who are starting out with stock trading, considering you've been consistently quite profitable at this point? So I'm sure your advice would help them.
yeah, I'd say just stick to it because it's really difficult at the beginning, especially with all the new big words you're learning. Because it can definitely you can get a lot of brain fog trying to figure out how all this stuff, what all these words mean, how everything works. Because there's so much to it, but once you can break past that barrier mentally, you'll be doing a lot better. Because your brain's gonna your fried TikTok brain's gonna freak out trying to learn all this, and
Mhm.
once you kinda break through that barrier and start understanding it, then it gets fun, and it gets a lot more interesting.
Very solid. And then, how different would you say the resources and material is within the real world compared to what you could have found out on the internet?
Yeah, so I have a friend who is in a Discord server, and I don't know who runs it exactly, but, they do something sort of similar, like, they'll release names, and they'll always keep you updated on earnings and, simple economic news, and, basically the real world has the ability to not only give you the course material to help educate you further, and of course it also releases more course material. Like, I just released like a couple new courses last week, I believe. So it's always updating on what they think you need to be educated on, and then just the different chat rooms. I don't think he has the ability to ask questions or really do any of that, and the AMAs and just the way he runs the weekly watch list is phenomenal.
Mhm. Very solid. Okay. Then, since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
Yeah, so this definitely gave me a lot of hope about my future because I'm a freshman in college this year. I go to university in Texas in the United States, and so I really didn't want to go the university route. It was really pushed by my parents, but I had this conversation with a family friend, and he said, if your parents are going to give it to you, like if they're going to pay for your education, then take that, use it as a backup plan for your entrepreneurship ventures. And so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm always trying to do stuff on the side. And so when I figure out like I can actually do this online and remotely, like that was huge for me. So I plan on just scaling this as much as I can,
Mhm.
in the short term, and then medium term. Um, I'm getting my real estate license, so I plan on pursuing that avenue for like medium term job and everything because that's something I can work on independently. You're not really controlled by anyone if you work as an independent sales agent, and I plan on doing commercial real estate.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of medium term because I have a lot of resources and I know a lot of ballers in that industry, and I'm really excited to get into that industry. And then long term, just making an impact on young men and showing them that it's possible and that you are in control of your life and no one can take that from you, and that it's up to you to, if you really want to make it happen, you can make it happen.
Super solid. Okay. Now, is there more to go into what kind of an impact Tate has had on you then? Because your mindset seems very solid now.
Yeah, I'd say my mindset was weak for a while throughout high school. I dealt with a lot of like silly things like heartbreak, and I battled a lot of injuries playing sports, and like it just never seemed like it would go my way, you know? And so just dealing with that, and then also realizing that some of the stuff that wasn't going my way was my fault. And that was hard for me because I was kind of egotistical. And I'd say definitely trading helped me a lot with that, and showing me that, helping with my ego and showing me that maybe I'm not always right about things. And it's just really helped change my mindset from about thinking about things more broadly, and really opening my mindset up.
Yeah. And yeah, in a way, the things you went through is kind of necessary to go through to become a man, as long as you learn
Hmm.
from it. Because some people they deal with things differently. But when you take this is goes back to what you said at the start. If you take full accountability for it and use it as lessons to improve yourself, then you just become a better man overall after having gone through it and dealing with it and overcoming it.
I would just remember Tate would always preach, pain is necessary to go through, if you're going to become a strong man. And that's what I would think about anytime I'd go through hardship, is this is necessary and this is building me up, and I'm going through this for a reason.
Hmm. Solid. Now, does your family know that you're in the reward? Just wondering.
Yes, they
What do they think
do.
about it?
Um, they weren't upset or anything. I think they're proud of me for kind of pursuing, trying to make something happen online. They don't really force me to get a job right now, so I think now that I showed them that I can make money online, like they're they're not really pushing for that. That was a huge thing for me too. I didn't know if I wanted to get a job whenever I got first up here, and now that I'm here and I've established this and know I can scale it. I'm pretty excited about that. But overall, my family's supportive of it. I don't think they don't know much about Tate, or they don't really have an opinion on it, because surprisingly, I guess I haven't seen it in whatever news they're looking at, but they don't have any opinions on that,
Mm,
because
makes
I
sense.
know some people probably deal with strong opinions. And
Yeah. Nice.
yeah.
And where do you think your life would be if you hadn't found out about the real world and hadn't joined it? What trajectory were you going on?
I'd say I'd still be dealing with a lot of stress. Now I have a little bit more security based off of, just a little bit of extra funds that it's been able to provide me. And yeah, I feel like be definitely be working a job right now and probably not be happy with it. And I think that was the biggest thing. Just finding a way to actually do it myself, and find an avenue where I could make this happen was huge for me. And without that, it'd be pretty difficult for me.
All right. And that is pretty much all my questions. So I'll wrap up with for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they think it could be a scam for the $50, what advice would you have to them?
Yeah, so at first I was a little bit unsure too, because there were so many different like links being promoted, but I all realized that all went to the same place. And I joined Tate's email list, and I kept getting the emails, and I kept getting the emails, and I was like, okay, I just gave in. And I was like, if this is a scam, just take $50 from me, and it is what it is. Because I'd already spent so much money trying to pay for courses and do all these different drop shipping courses and stocks courses and whatnot. And I found this, and I was like, okay, $50 more, like it is what it is. And then as soon as I got in and saw all the different things in the campus, I was like, okay, I paid the next month, and I paid the next month, and I kept learning and learning and learning, and it just compounded.
Mhm. All right. Very cool. Thank you for sharing your experience, Daniel. It was interesting to listen to. And
Hmm.
let's do a follow up at some point in the future. Maybe start of next year, see how you're progressing, and to hold you accountable. So you have in mind that we're gonna do a follow up interview, and everything you do from now until then will get documented. All right, and yeah, until then, I wish you all the best. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.